This movie explains about working with charts in terms of how to control how they look. So here's a typical North Indian chart, and the standard thing to do if you want to change anything is just to click on it. So you just click anywhere, and when you click you get this dialog which we call the choices and options. Now if you click on a chart it comes up on a page that's all about charts. If you click on a table it comes up on the tables page, graphs page, dashes page, and so forth. So the main page, or the first page, is the charts page, and here on the left are all the sort of common charts that one uses: Rashi, Navamsha, big and small, Bhava chart, Chandra, Lagna chart. A chart, all divisions chart is tremendously useful because it allows you to switch between the divisions on screen without going to the dialogue, or a circle chart. In the middle you've got a choice of all the different kinds of Vargas. So if you click on one of these, you'll see the Varga chart that you selected. Down here we can choose things other than the Chandra chart, the moon chart. You can just have the sun as the ascendant, Mars, whatever you like. You can even have a blank chart for printing out, which you can write up by hand, or you can make a blank space. Over here are all the options which apply to charts. So the first thing is the size. So charts are, 1 cell wide, 2 cell wide, 3 cell wide, like that. If you look on this window here, we see that we have 1, 2, 3 cells up, and 1, 2, 3 cells down. This is quite a small window, so this one works. If you have a bigger screen, obviously, you can have more. So this chart here is what we would call a 2 by 2. So that's indicated here. Then there's the style: northern, southern, eastern, or western wheels. And then whether you want degrees, you can show degrees. There's a new feature of larger degrees, which are good for if you're making transparencies, or you may just like them. And then you can have degrees along with other information. If it's a Rashi chart, you can have the Navamsha and Nakshatra and those sort of things. You can even have the sound, the Nama Nakshatra sound, and so forth. Then you can have aspect lines in charts, and there are 7 different kinds of aspect lines you can work with. And then here are some things for making things look pretty. You can have a nice lotus border, and you can choose one of the many different colors. The ones at the top are perhaps more attractive than the ones further down. It depends on one's preference. You can put an Om in the middle, and if you select a southern chart style, then you have some more choices, including you can put a Ganesh picture in the middle, or some birth data along with the Om if you want. So this is all about setting up for charts. And one of the other critical things, if you look at the top, these are very important. Here it says the person whose chart you're going to look at. So according to all the nativities that have been loaded into the main screen, because you select them in data entry, they all stack up here, and you can just select the one you want for this chart. There's a whole bunch of different color schemes, from monochrome to multicolored, according to what you want. Some of them indicate the strength of the planet, some of them just indicate the natural color of the planet, and that's the one that I'm using at the moment. You can choose to have a chart, transparent chart, so the background shows through. And you can also decide what you want to see in the chart. Do you want to see just the 9 standard planets in the ascendant? Do you want to keep less planets, like no Rahu and Ketu, or you want to add in certain special ascendants, house cusps, outer planets, arudas of all the arudas or some of the arudas, certain upagrahas, yogi point, the munta, and even you can put in up to 3 Arabic parts. So you just select what you want here, you click OK, and that will appear in your chart. So this gives you complete control over the chart. So that's a way of setting up the chart, but it would be useful to know a few one more very handy thing, which is that you can simply just right-click on a chart. And when you right-click, you get a whole bunch of choices. The first thing at the top is instant help about the chart or the table or whatever you clicked on. And I'll do another video. There's another video all about the right-click. But here I just want to point out the things that are particularly useful for the chart. And point out that here you can actually choose the color scheme. You can choose the transparency. You can switch all the charts to some other style. You can select which native you want for this chart. You can swap it to the other one that's mentioned at the top, which can be very handy, like you can switch it with a right click straight to the transit chart. And then here are some useful things. So if you click on a sign, then you can select this and it'll rotate the chart to put that sign at the top. If you clicked on a planet and you select this, you can rotate it and put the planet at the top, and the planet will stay at the top until you change it. And you can also switch to having degrees. So if we select small degrees, then we'll see here we get very nice degrees. Now, because a North Indian chart has sort of large diamonds and small triangles, it can happen that the point sizes vary. There's more room for the glyphs here than there is here. And if you don't like the fact that these are smaller than this one, then you can just go to the Format menu and you select Equalize Sizes in Charts. And then obviously everything adjusts to the smallest size. And according to what style of chart, you get the point size. It's all adjusted according to the size of the chart and the type of the chart. So if we look further down here, here's another really cool thing. You can fix this chart on the ascendant of another chart. So for instance, suppose you have a natal chart and a transit chart. You can fix the transit chart to have at the top, this is North Indian charts, have at the top the ascendant of the natal chart or the moon of the natal chart. So that's a cool new feature. And then here is an option that you can hide the title. If suppose you don't want to see a title at the top of a chart, it'll just take it out. And this can be good for printing. So we can put it back. And the titles, there are two types of titles. You can have this kind of title, which is kind of descriptive, or you can have a title which is basically the name of the person, and there's a button. If your screen is big enough, you'll see a button on the top right for flipping the titles. Otherwise, you can right-click and you go to Same as Buttons, and then you come down here, Titles. And now you get the name of the person, the Varga, and the beginning and end of the ascendant. When that particular ascendant started, Sagittarius, and when it ended. So that's a very useful thing. And these little things here are allowing us to switch on aspect lines. The different kinds of aspect lines, we just keep clicking. And depending on which side we click, we get, it goes in a certain cycle round through the different kinds of aspect lines. And you can control how strong the orbs are in the global options. So you just click somewhere, you go to global options, and you choose here what strength you want the minimum aspect to be. So aspects in Vedic astrology are calculated out of a total of 60. And there are whole sign aspects which don't really take into account the longitude, but in the way that's taught in Parashara, the actual aspect varies according to the precise longitudes, much as it does in Western astrology, but in a Vedic way. And so there's a maximum of 60, and you can choose. So if you choose 50 out of 60, then you'll only see really aspects that are substantially full. If you get down to 45, you start seeing the three-quarter aspects, and so forth. So that's all about charts.